Hello, my name is Ben Grissom. Today I'll be talking to you all about the chokecherry, scientifically known as the Prunus virginiana. This here is an image of a chokecherry. It's a small shrub, large shrub or small tree, and it has some defining characteristics such as small red to black berries and cone-like flowers. It comes in three different varieties actually. There's the Eastern, the Western, and the Melanocarpa. And another notable characteristic is that it gets little aeration holes on its bark, which eventually develop into divots as it matures. So this plant is distributed across the northern United States and southern Canada, and it is found in mid to high elevation semi-wooded areas. This plant was a vital source of food for many Native American tribes. They made a mincemeat out of it called pemmican, and this here is an image of beef jerky pemmican. Uh, it is sort of a sweeter flavor. Today, chokecherry is used in a lot of American pies and jellies, homemade varieties, and it has a very bitter flavor until it's cooked or dried, or sugar is added, of course. Uh, it was also very popular in Native American medicine. So Native Americans would use any of those different derivatives of the plant, and they would treat ailments such as postpartum hemorrhaging, diarrhea, sore throats, rheumatism, or stomach aches. And the poultices were used for burns. Uh, in about the 1830s, a doctor by the name of Dr. Proctor discovered the chemical prussic acid inside of chokecherry bark. So that's an important acid. This is the chemistry in the bottom right of prussic acid. It's also known as hydrogen cyanide, and it is a very toxic molecule. It is acidic. The hydrogen very easily leaves the carbon molecule because the pull from the nitrogen is so strong, and that can uh, interrupt a lot of cellular level functions of uh, any anything that eats it. Very few animals can eat the barks or leaves and be okay. So the plant itself doesn't store a lot of hydrogen cyanide inside of it. What it does store is prunasin, which is a cyanogenic glycoside. And this, as I will discuss in a little bit, it breaks down, and one of the products is prussic acid. So, what triggers the breakdown is a stress to the plant, most commonly branch that breaks off or a wilting leaf. Something that stresses cells out, it causes this reaction. And then prunasin devolves into amygdalin, which is actually the cyanogenic glycoside found in many other members of the cherry and rose family. Um, but prunasin is the cyanogenic glycoside which is found in the chokecherry. So prunasin breaks down into amygdalin, which is another precursor for hydrogen cyanide, and then amygdalin breaks down into hydrogen cyanide, glucose and benzaldehyde. Now note that there's glucose there. Glucose is a simple sugar and it is very sweet. And so that makes this plant in particular very dangerous for a lot of livestock and also young children, because if they have a little bit of a wilted leaf and it tastes good, then they put themselves at risk for further poisoning. And it only takes about 0.25% of an individual's body weight to cause the death of the individual. So that is obviously a little more for cattle or horses, but anything is at risk if it comes across a branch that's fallen in a field full of sweet cyanide-filled leaves. So prussic acid has obviously a lot of toxicity, and so it has been used as a chemical weapon in the past. Recently, it hasn't been used because there are unfortunately more effective chemical weapons. But in World War I, it was used before chlorine gas, actually, but it was not very effective because it is too light to use in an open area, and it would just flee into the upper atmosphere very quickly and would not be concentrated enough to cause severe toxic reaction. In World War II, it was used in devastating fashion. It was the chemical weapon of choice for Nazi Germany when putting its Holocaust camp members into the false shower gas chambers. What you see here in this image is actually the pipes for the gas chamber in Dachau, which was the second or third largest concentration camp in World War II. So because it was a confined environment and they could pump more in at once in a controlled fashion, they could very efficiently kill very large numbers of people through cyanide poisoning. So, prussic acid is also used for other things that don't involve poisoning anyone. It is used to process gold and silver ore, as it is once again an acid, and this acid doesn't denature silver and obviously not gold because gold is nearly denaturable, non-denaturable. So it strips away the other substances which are attached to the precious metals. But in addition to being used for mining and stripping things away, it is used for electroplating, which is the application of a metal such as gold or silver to another metal, such as nickel, which is probably what's underneath of that Kennedy, I think that's a $50. And so it is used a lot in computer technology because gold is the primary metal desired on motherboards and such computer tools. So these are my references, and thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, leave them under my video in the discussion.